Covert interaction. This is the third line of the 54th gate, the gate of ambition, the marrying maiden. This is a difficult situation for the third line. It cannot stay with any given ambition for very long because of its bonds made and broken, its trial and error process. It feels under pressure to transform something when it bangs into it, and then it finds that that's not really for it. And so it leaves and it goes on to the next thing. And this is the covert interaction. The third line, bonds made and broken, that's its frequency. Trial and error, that's its theme. There is so much about ambition that is never ever on the surface. There are maneuvers and shenanigans all over the place, and it all has its place. Who knows what? Who has the power? How can I get access to it? Where do I get information? How can I get their attention? All of that is bubbling away underneath. And this is lower trigram. This is an inward personal destiny kind of process. They don't know the other. They don't know that the 32, the very conservative 32, is there to judge whether they are really of value or not. And that 32 is an awareness, unlike the 54, which is a pressure. So without knowing the intelligence that will guide that ambition, everything is inward for them. And everything is about trying to find out underneath how everything works so they can protect themselves and learn how to penetrate the other. The exaltation says the ability when stymied in formal relationships to use secret or purely informal channels when it is the only resort. The drive, when blocked, to use secret means to fuel ambition. Imagine, for example, there's an advert in the newspaper. You're unemployed. It's a very nice looking ad. It really excites you. It's something you'd like to do. And it says, contact so-and-so and do this and do that. And there are all these layers in front of you and hoops that you've got to jump through. Well, this 54-3 is the kind of person who either knows somebody in the company and can get inside, or they simply just find out what company it is who placed the ad and they go directly there into the company and they try to impress everybody. In the detriment, the insistence that formal channels, no matter how frustrating, can be overcome by the power of attraction. The energy of ambition, when blocked, will fuel the power of attraction to overcome the obstacle. In trying to get the job, our 54-3 hangs around the office and they try to make themselves indispensable in some way. They keep on offering their services. They keep getting involved, building up informal relationships and, just hoping that they will, with their attraction, get noticed. And their ability to integrate with that person will end up with them finally getting the job. And they can succeed if they are living out their own nature, if they are entering into that ambition correctly. Absolutely, they can succeed with that. But it's often difficult for the third line because they break bonds so easily. And the longer the process of getting in the door, the more probable it is that they're not going to hang around long enough to actually do it. But they develop very important skills. They learn to see that it is not enough to recognize that there is another, but that somehow you have to figure out how that other and everything else works. There are some very interesting references in this gate 54. We had the Satanist in the first line. We have the spiritual and the mundane. There's a lot going on. When we look at the mirror, the 19th gate, it is the gate of animism. It's where religious experience began. The exaltation of those animals that we killed, turning them into gods, honoring their spirit. The 54th gate is spiritual in a cosmic way, and it is its underlying challenge at the mundane level to recognize and understand the mechanics underneath in order to triumph. And those mechanics extend beyond the mundane. So we find all kinds of stuff here in this gate because of the pressure to find a system, a way in which we can calculate how to get our advantage. The main keynote for the tribal process is support, and we often consider the tribe to be deeply social. But it's not like the collective, which is inherently social in every aspect. The tribe is social specifically, and their sociability operates through the emotional system of hope and pain over on the other side of the body graph, through the solar plexus. You can see clearly here that we are dealing with a communal supportive process in which the rising up is conditioned on somebody being there to help in that process. Somebody who gets empowered by these people, somebody who is fueled in their ambition in order that the other's ambition can be realized in their lifetime. The greatest success for the 54th gate comes by first making somebody else successful. Ultimately, they will get the rewards and the recognition for that energy, but it has to be secondhand. It has to come from others recognizing it, and in that seeing and in the apparent selflessness of, oh, I did it so that that person could make it. Then they end up being the ones who are seen as the ones who should be transformed and promoted and moved up the ladder. They're company people. They work for the program. They're not just interested in themselves, and they are so pleased when they do finally get up to the chairman's seat and find themselves running the organization, because that wasn't what they started off to do. The fairy tale associated with this gate is Cinderella. Often these are people who have a sense of smell of, who they could bribe. They know who knows what they need to know in order to get them where they want to be. They know by instinct with whom covert interactions are possible. They smell it, but as a third line, they also make mistakes. And then they learn from those and discover something new. The grounding is coming through the 53rd gate and the third line called practicality. This is the concentration on avoiding conflict to ensure protection and continued development. Or not, I guess. This line bangs into someone on the other side and they suddenly realize that the most important thing is human interaction, which is all of what we're discovering through this gate of ambition. Mercury moved into gate 10 today at 4:47. This is the gate of the behavior of the self, the love of the self. It's in the G center and part of both integration and centering. When it connects to the sacral, it's focused on following its convictions. The 57 brings a sense of beauty and the survival inherent in the perfected form. And gate 20 can bring an awareness in the now, or not. The moon has been in gate 42 since 6:26, and it moves into gate 3 at 16:01, where it meets Pluto, and it forms the channel of mutation. This is the format channel for individuality. It is an energy which initiates and fluctuates. It's a pulse energy. If you carry this energy or this channel in your design, wherever you are physically present, there is always a chance of something new coming into the world. This is the potential that you carry. And the price you pay for this gift is to accept the limitation of not knowing when the next quantum leap will come. So we only have one moon gate to look at right now because the sun is transiting 2 lines today. So look out for the 4th line report later on. I usually post it around 2000, so 8 p.m. GMT. Okay, thank you for joining me for this 3rd line. And I'll see you a bit later on. Have a great 3rd line. Have a great ambitious rising up. And I was going to say something about the marrying maiden and that line about the maiden is not seen because her moon is not yet full. I thought it's such a beautiful line, isn't it? It just sort of opens up that possibility that we all still have so much to well, I was going to say to learn, but I don't mean that in any schmaltzy way. It's just there's always possibility, isn't there? There's always that. Well, none of us are ever complete, not until the day we draw our last breath, really. So yeah, there's always a bit more. We can always have a little bit more maybe compassion around for ourselves or for other people because they are just maidens whose moon is not yet full. I'm going. I will see you later on. Thank you for listening, watching, and go gently.